Chiefs Kingdom, welcome in to the AP Breakdown, a live edition, first ever live edition of the AP Breakdown. Those of you that have been following, AP Film Room's been around for a few years, but Caleb and I got it down here on the AP Breakdown. I'm Ron Kopp Jr., the lead analyst at the site. Caleb James, that way, at CJ Scoobs on Twitter, breaks down the film for the site as well. We love digging into it, and that's why we love doing the show. So Chiefs are 1-0. We got some good stuff to break down. It's kind of nice to have a positive way to start this all off. Caleb, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling good. It's nice having like the mini bye week after the Thursday night opener. I know I was there. Ron, I believe you were too. It was an electric environment, back to Arrowhead at full force. The crowd was great. The game was great. You look around at some of the games that happened on Sunday and then, of course, Sunday night and Monday night. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find two teams that actually look better than the Chiefs and the Ravens did.
That's a good point, honestly. It really was like a great game to open it all up. There was a lot of bad offense this weekend. Chiefs, even in kind of, it wasn't their best offensive day. Like, they could have definitely been more efficient, and they still ended as the top in the league in yards per play by the end of it. And Xavier Worthy has something to do with that. We'll get into it. We'll also be breaking down Leo Chenal's game. He had a big game as that third linebacker. Obviously, the Ravens like to get a little heavy, so Leo had to play more. But yeah, no, we got Bengals coming up this week, Caleb. We'll be breaking that down for the site. This will just strictly be Chiefs Ravens. So hey, before we get into it, you like you mentioned, you were at the stadium. It was, first of all, it was humid as heck. I mean, that storm really just made it so much more humid. I really think fatigue set in in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. I think that's why you saw, maybe the defense give up some plays. I mean, they were just dog tired, but how was your reaction to that last play? All I saw was the ref's hands go up, and I was like, oh, my gosh. I didn't have a good angle on the feet. What did you think?
I did not have a good angle either. I was actually sitting facing it straight ahead, just opposite end zone, so I didn't get the greatest look at it. And I was like, really, man? I was like, we're really going to go this entire game. We're up 2 possessions at one point also, and we're really going to let it come down to this because, Baltimore is probably not kicking that. They're probably going to send the offense back out there and go for 2.
They were.
Which is a dangerous place for that offense to be at, going for 2 with the game on the line. But it's a game of inches, and as we saw, and as the crowd saw, and as everyone started going insane, the foot was out of bounds. So that was, call it luck, call it what you will, but that's what it was. Now, they still had to tie the game or take the lead, so let's not act like that was the game-deciding play. But we'll take it. People could be upset if they were. His foot was definitely on the line. I don't think you could argue that, though.
No, you can't. That's and it is kind of crappy, right? Like a great game like that, like you mentioned, it does come down to, the game literally ends on the ref's call. Like, that's kind of annoying, but at the same time, that's how it was. They got the play right. Fun game. You're right. Really fun game. And so let's get into it because there's a lot of cool stuff to break down from this game. But we kind of focused on 2 players. We focused on Xavier Worthy on offense, Leo Chenal on defense. You got Leo. You're going to break him down after I look at Xavier Worthy. And here's the fun thing about Xavier Worthy's game. All these plays I'm going to show, none of them are the touchdowns. He had so much more of a bigger impact to the game than his box score showed. And I wrote about it for the site. Did not include any of his touchdowns in the clips because there was so much more to it. And I'm going to start with how he opened things up for other players on offense. First of all, this is kind of getting close to the red zone. They come out in first down. This is just a really cool play, cool situation by the Chiefs. They set it up well. Look at this formation here. So they come out hurried, right? They come out of the huddle in a hurry, come to the line quick. You got Noah Gray and Travis Kelce in the backfield with Isaiah Pacheco. So it kind of looks like a funky formation, kind of a run look. But all of a sudden, they hurry to the line, and they're actually going to go with a flood route here. So they're going to flood the right side of the field. You're going to have Gray in the flat, Kelce on that intermediate, and then Worthy's going deep. But what you have here is Worthy's speed just grabbing the eyes of defenders, right? So it's a too high look. You have a too high structure. He is backpedaling with Watson at first, kind of keeping an eye on him. But watch the backside, and this is what I'm talking about, the backside safety back here. Watch his eyes go on Worthy, and just look how deep he gets. He is all the way back here at the 15, and Worthy's running a corner. Like, he's worried about, obviously, him coming back and having that post and him trying to account for that. But Worthy's running a corner. He completely takes this backside safety out. There's no one here to pick up Watson, kind of come down on him, maybe make this a harder play. Obviously, one thing here is this linebacker, I believe it's Jerome Simpson. It was kind of one of, or excuse me, Trenton Simpson, one of his first starts. Definitely should kind of, feel it out better and kind of come here. There's no route coming outside here. But that's the thing, he may think there's a crosser coming across. So that window is wide open, right? That makes it easy. But a lot of this is Xavier Worthy. I think his speed, it just really grabs these safeties' attention. Obviously, this safety is going to deepen with him, but this safety really didn't have to as much. He could have played it a little more conservative, played up on Watson more. Here's just the end zone look of it. So play action. It was just a really good play setup by the Chiefs, honestly. They get the Ravens in their 3 linebacker set. I believe Malik Harrison was on the field at that time as well. And that's someone who they exposed all game. Their 3rd linebacker, he's more of a rundown player, number 40, for anyone who remembered. But that wasn't the only time he set something up. Now, this actually wasn't a completion. This is the last play of the game. The Chiefs weren't able to convert just because it's actually the Mahomes self-completion. But what you're going to see is a similar thing. Worthy's here in the slot. He's that most inside player. He's going to take off vertical. And this is 3rd down, right? So Ravens starting a too high structure, but this backside safety, he really does want to be able to help out in the middle. He wants to be able to help out if Kelsey is coming across like he does, and even a Rice kind of a picking up there. But he has no choice. He has to run deep with Xavier Worthy. He has to pick him up. And all of a sudden, you have Roquan Smith as the only defender really here in the area to pick up Kelsey or Rice. Mahomes doesn't make it easy on himself. He definitely could have stayed more in the pocket. He kind of had to maneuver around with how the rush was going. We'll look at it from the end zone angle as well. This is just kind of a great play on the linebacker's part. He's tracking Pacheco. Once he sees Pacheco blocking, he kind of starts going after Mahomes. And so it is just a good play, him tracking it down, him reading the ball. But again, you're just going to see Xavier Worthy. This safety really wants to kind of be able to hang out here. He doesn't want to have to deepen all the way. And he just has to. Xavier Worthy's too fast. He gets on there too fast. And if this safety does cheat up, Xavier Worthy has all this space to this side of the field. Mahomes is going to go there. And so that's why these safeties really have to account for Xavier Worthy. I guess I don't have the end zone angle here. But again, Xavier Worthy's just opening stuff up. But that's the other thing is he had an opportunity to have even bigger plays, even more plays for the Chiefs. There's a few missed opportunities, including this one on the opening drive. This is actually before his first touchdown. Mahomes actually just misses this, and I kind of misdiagnosed it on Twitter. I kind of maybe thought, hey, maybe if the window is just too tight, or maybe there just wasn't enough time for him to hang and wait for him to clear. But let me back up here. So you're going to see Xavier Worthy's here on the off the ball. Rashee Rice is above him on the ball, right? Xavier Worthy's going to get this free release because of that. Rice is going to go right into the outside corner, and this guy's going to and Marlon Humphrey's going to have to pick him up, right? They're switching, right? They're kind of switching guys. Rice is kind of helping him get that free release. And so Ravens switch. That catches Marlon Humphrey off guard, who is off ball. Worthy is beating him over the ball. And look at this green over here. There is no one in this. All the safeties went with Watson down deep. If Worthy catches this in any, in this window or that, once he clears Kelsey, it's probably a touchdown. Now let's look at the end zone angle. You're going to see Mahomes. He kind of just loses pocket integrity a little too quick. He kind of starts, doing the thing. And he does this sometimes where, he just kind of starts. He can still throw from this angle, right? He can still throw from moving forward like this, but you just kind of compromise, your ability to get it out quick, your ability to get it, accurately. He misses Xavier Worthy. You're going to see Worthy, once he clears Simpson, if Mahomes has his footwork, has his pocket integrity, this really should just be an easy completion. Kelsey's man is tight on him. There's no chance that he's coming off to defend this. So this really should just be a completion right here. And even if Mahomes does hang in the pocket a little more, obviously Jawan kind of, he kind of feels that a little bit. And I think that's why he steps up and eventually just moves forward. If Jawan did kind of hold that corner a little better and maybe Mahomes sticks back there, he could even wait for Worthy to clear Kelsey, get all the way to the sideline, sling it over there. So that was one missed opportunity. Could have been a big touchdown before he even had his reverse touchdown. But here's another that kind of came later in the game, or I think it was maybe before halftime. You're going to see in the red zone again. You're going to get Worthy on the crosser, right? You're going to take advantage of this off-man coverage. You're going to have guys playing off right here. The slot defender, he's playing off Worthy, but he has to pick him up, and so he does a good job of kind of cutting him off, kind of getting that good angle right across the field. He doesn't hesitate, but Worthy is just so fast that he clears a strong safety really quickly. Like the strong, a lot of players don't get over that quickly. A lot of players don't get over to that side of the ball that quickly. Mahomes does a good job, I think, of holding the strong safety with his eyes, acting like maybe he's going to go over the middle, and that's why the strong safety is late here, isn't able to guard it. But here's the thing: is Mahomes really just this is a good pressure? Jawan gets beat in. Jawan just completely goes with the rusher going in and just completely leaves that looper to the outside for Mahomes to get pressured by. If Mahomes has time to step into this, and maybe we'll show it from the sideline angle again. If Mahomes has time to step into this, put it to the sideline, maybe not even in the end zone. You can put it more towards, the sideline, towards, in front of the goal line. Worthy's probably outrunning him to the sideline here. And it's probably another touchdown. If Mahomes has the time to accurately place it in front of him, instead he has to back foot it, right? Because the pressure's in his face. He has to throw it off his back foot, has to throw it up. And it's not the worst throw in the world. Obviously, it's a little behind. Worthy could have gave it a little better contest. He wasn't able to gather his feet and jump for it. But again, Worthy's speed sets him up to make a big play, to have that opportunity to have a big play. And that was, there was a chance that could have been a big play, another one. That drive ended in a field goal. That was third down. I mean, shoot, I just showed two plays that weren't his touchdowns that could have been touchdowns. I mean, Xavier Worthy gets open, and then there's this, which is very fun.
I think I remember this one.
Yeah, and it's not a serious. This isn't a serious like, oh man, he should have threw to Worthy, because Worthy, you're gonna see the Chiefs do this a lot. They go in motion, they use a guy as a vertical clear out, right? He's kind of clearing out that corner. Mahomes really could go to the flat right here. There's a lot of space. Honestly, Gray has more space than Pacheco does on the other side. Pacheco just makes a good play and makes the most of the check down. But all I'm saying is when Mahomes gets used to this, his check down could just be a 60-yard bomb, because Worthy is clearing this, and he's clearing the defenders. He's getting past Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey's already, oh, shoot, I got to get going. The safety is already two inside, not carrying. His shoulders actually kind of turned inside more than anything. I just feel like there's a chance that these plays, these vertical clear out plays that really aren't supposed to be the route, like he's not supposed to be necessarily throwing this, Mahomes just may get used to this. And if he has a clean pocket, which he doesn't necessarily hear, Kingsley gets beat inside and he kind of feels it and checks down quickly, which I do have the end zone angle here. I can show you. Yeah, Kingsley kind of gets turned around. Not the greatest look for Kingsley here on this play. But again, I just feel like there's an opportunity here for one play, down the road. Mahomes has a clean pocket. Nothing else is open over the middle. Shoot, let me Anthony Richardson send this thing 65-yard bomb and just let Worthy go get it. What do you think about it?
Man, this play happened like right in front of us, and I saw him come across, and then I just saw how quickly he eats the cushion up from the cornerback there, and I was like, man, he might actually have a chance if he's got to step on this guy. At some point, they are just going to have one of those plays that, they just let loose like that. As far as the O-line stuff, though, I think we're going to have a big episode next week on that.
Yeah, no, this is probably a pretty good, let me ask you, because, I mean, the Ravens have decent edge rushers. Odafe Owe, Kyle Van Noy. Van Noy actually got hurt in this game, and complained about the Chiefs medical staff after that. But that's the thing. Trey Hendrickson is a better edge rusher than anything Baltimore threw at them. He's going to be, kind of sent as an edge rusher more, right? He's more of a true D end. In the Ravens scheme, they have a lot of outside linebackers that aren't always coming after the quarterback. Sometimes they're dropping. I think Trey Hendrickson's a big deal. What do you think about that matchup as we transition to the defense?
Yeah, and while I start pulling some of these clips up, like Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard are going to be, they're going to be a handful for the young man out there at left tackle. But let's get into it. I got some clips here tonight. I went with defense this week. I was really impressed with Leo Chenal. And, people might be like, well, the Ravens offense produced. They did their thing. They're going to produce. They're going to do their thing. The Ravens are a good football team. After what we saw, I'd easily say, they're a top 3 team in the National Football League, top 5 team, whatever you want to call it. But the thing with a player like Lamar Jackson is I feel like too often teams get obsessed trying to stop him every play, and you just got to stop him when you're going to stop him. You're not going to stop. If you try to stop him every play, you're going to get beat like that. You got to pick your downs, pick your distances, pick your situations. I thought the Chiefs did that, and they did it in kind of an interesting way. But we'll start off with this. Leo's lined up, and the last 2 seasons, you've seen Leo line up around this spot. He's in front of Mark Andrews here, but he's going to be more of like your EOL or designated kind of rusher guy, EOL run defender, designated rusher. But here he turns, and instead of just going straight into the rush, I like how he kind of widens out and he gets some stealth. He kind of recognizes the screen being set up, and he kind of widens out and puts himself in between Jackson and Henry. When he does this, and I think Chris Jones gets a hand on it, but Chenal is the one that bats it up into the air. That's just great play recognition by him overall to be able to see that unfolding. And he comes over, almost makes the interception. That was a pretty awesome play. Him and Turk Wharton played an awesome game too. But about coming up with the pick early, just showing how active he is as a defender. But that kind of stuff continued throughout the game. And we get down here now, and you're in the goal line. This is on the red zone. This is a big situation. This is early in the game, but how the game ended, you got to think it ends, by an inch. Every point counts from here on there. And I love how Chenal is actually lined up like he's slow playing this and then gets his hand in the air. So, watch. The last 2 years, what's Leo Chenal doing when he's lined up head up on the guard here? He's rushing Lamar Jackson, and he's just going to be a designated pass rusher. You would assume if you're the Ravens, the spy guy is probably going to be Drew Tranquill or probably one of the Chiefs' more athletic secondary players. What they actually do here is they fake this little blitz, and then all of a sudden Chenal becomes the spy man off the line of scrimmage. And Leo Chenal is not a bad athlete by any stretch of the imagination. He's just been kind of thrown in as this EOL, designated linebacker, strong side linebacker. But makes a really athletic play there. He just did a good job. He kind of baited him, and that was going to be a touchdown. If the pass does get off, Leo just does a great job of batting it down. Tranquill actually got beat. I thought Drew Tranquill could have played a little bit better, but Leo had the slack there for him on that one. We'll keep getting back in through it here.
Yeah, I mean, Leo, I tweeted out the stat, but he played 60-something% of the snaps and led the team in defensive stops, which NFL Pro tracks as tackles that result in negative EPA, which means, it was a pretty impactful tackle. And he led the entire team while being kind of a situational player a little bit. And these tip passes aren't even included in that, right? These are just tip passes. So he was super impactful.
Oh, very. I mean, and here we go again, lined up on the line of scrimmage. This is deep in the red zone. Ravens are trying to go in to score. I believe this was a third down situation. And you see, they're looking, is Leo going to blitz? Is he not? He's not. He just muddles it. He just kind of hangs out at the line of scrimmage. He's spying Jackson right now. He's spying him all the way right here, and he does a good job of – I think he does a good job of he knows when it's time to close in, when it's time to close the space, and he actually goes down. Lamar gets caught in no man's land. He can't decide, do I want to pass? Do I want to run? I think if Lamar runs, he's probably going to be a little bit better off, but Leo just does a good job of taking the decision out of it, and he just reacts instantly, and he made up for that play in the AFC Championship game a little bit. The Lamar's infamous scramble into a turnaround, doopsie-doo, throw over the shoulder, Nick Bolton. We all give up a touchdown here and there. It is what it is. The Chiefs won that game, and the Chiefs won this one. But I loved that play just because he did come back a little bit from how he had started the game. And I've got a few more here as we just keep rolling through things.
Yeah, because no, you kind of hit on it there, though. Drew Tranquill is you kind of expect him to be the spy a lot of times, but Leo had that 9.99 RAS. Drew Tranquill is better in coverage, right? So,
yep,
it adds up there for sure that Leo.
And how big was this one? Just overall, this was on the last possession of the game, but you see Tranquill, or not Tranquill, you see Chenal. He's doing the spy again. He's spying on Jackson, but for whatever reason, I don't know why Baltimore's got a running back blocking Chris Jones. That wasn't the smartest thing in the world, unless they figured it was going to be a quick pass. Lamar trying to make something out of nothing. But here you go. Leo Chenal gets his hands up. And he had a good game overall, too. I mean, he had 6 or 7 tackles, 2 passes defended. I think he had 3 pressures, but that play right there where he gets his hands in the air and just creates the impact to get him off the field, I thought that was really special. And I'm going to look there was one more that I'm looking for here, because there was a play where he goes and he absolutely just makes a heck of a stop on Lamar Jackson. I'm trying to pull that one up here. I think some of you might remember it when you see it. But Ron, what did you overall think of the performance by the linebacker core in general? Because I thought it was good. I thought there were some things that could be better, though.
Dude, I really feel like fatigue played such a factor in this game at the end of it. I know I've already said it in this, but like Nick Bolton, he had some rough plays, and I highlighted one of them that wasn't even the Isaiah Likely touchdown. But he gets put in those situations, and I just don't see why we've seen Spags go situational with the linebackers before. I mean, we all remember Ben Neiman as that dime linebacker drove us crazy. Why not do that? Why not have Drew Tranquil as that dime linebacker? His strength is coverage. Leave Bolton fresh for early downs. And you don't get those plays because I feel like, even if Bolton wasn't completely tired, he might give up some of those plays, but you're adding on the fact that he was probably exhausted. He didn't have preseason reps. He didn't have training camp reps. I think that kind of added up to Nick Bolton maybe having a few rough spots, but overall the defense played well. I think at some point chasing Lamar Jackson all game, you get pretty tired.
You do. And here's the play that I wanted to show off. I had it a little bit out of order, but I thought this was one of the most impressive snaps I had seen from anyone all night, because you see Leo still spying Lamar, but this time it looks like Lamar finds a big lane, and Leo is going to have to react quickly here, and you can see that athletic ability. You can see the processing and the football IQ and it all coming together. I think for one of the first times in his career, he had a game where you saw like the actual potential. You're like, yeah, I can see where all the hype was at when we drafted this guy. He is an athletic freak, and he's starting to put it together on the mental side, the processing side, to where they trusted him to spy one of the game's biggest playmakers who thrives off of plays like this, and he just closes in and tackles Lamar. That is so hard to do. I mean, how many times throughout Lamar Jackson's career does he make him the guy that's coming over late on a spy like that miss as he's spinning into the end zone, and Chenal comes in and just makes a routine tackle like it's nothing. I thought that play was awesome. I thought the Chiefs kind of tricked him a little bit. I don't think that the Ravens were probably expecting Leo Chenal to be that guy all game, and he stepped up and he was every bit as athletic as he needed to be, and he played a smart, overall football game too.
Yeah, no, and I think the pass rush got tired at the end of the game too, and the pressure wasn't getting there, so they needed Leo Chenal to really make some of those plays. And like I mentioned before, I mean, he had a lot of impactful tackles, and we didn't even hit on some of them. I mean, he really had such an impactful game in the pass down, run down. That's the thing. He's not going to play every game that much, right? Because the Ravens do like to have those multi-tight end sets, which forces the Chiefs to get into their base defense. But shoot, Caleb, I mean, in games where they're going to be a lot more nickel, like, do you see? Because I mean, I guess I should say, and maybe this is a good breakdown thing for the show. You saw them go a lot of the 3-3 nickel, where Leo Chenal was that fourth player on the line of scrimmage, like you're talking about, the EOL. And so maybe that's just a way to get your best 11 players on the field. I don't know. Do you like that look? I mean, do you like when they do that?
I don't have a problem with it if you're getting your best guys on the field, because like you mentioned, I was a little bit disappointed with not so much Chris Jones pass rush. I think Chris Jones has 3 or 4 sacks if it's anyone but Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And Chris Jones still got the strip there. I was disappointed more in the defensive ends. Karlaftis and Dana didn't really do a ton. Obviously, they're missing Omenihu bad. But, I mean, yeah, if you're going to have to find a way to get a guy like Chenal on the field, I don't mind the 3-3 stack, really, because I think that it also opens up his ability to make plays like around the line of scrimmage, be that spy guy. And this week coming up against the Bengals, who knows? They might want to try to tee off on Burrow a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's another thing. Speaking of that point, we didn't see a lot of Felix Enrique-Uzama on pass rush downs. All of his snaps pretty much were kind of in neutral situations. He played on third down, but only one of his, only one time the Ravens passed on third down out of 10 opportunities was he on the field. And that was kind of surprising. I felt like in the preseason, we saw him involved in the third down, that kind of starting pass rush package in front of the dime defense. But that's the thing. I mean, if Leo is a better edge rusher right now, or just kind of a more impactful player on those on the edge, maybe they're just use that as a way to kind of get to Omenihu getting healthy too, and not putting in Felix in so many positions. Did you get a good look at Felix at all? I mean, he had some good effort plays. He had the great recognition on the screenplay, made a tackle for loss. That was an awesome play. Obviously, the fumble recovery, that's great effort. But yeah, I just, I still, he actually played less than he did last week one, which could make sense if you include, the fact that Chris Jones didn't play last year. But I don't know. I just kind of expected to see a little more of Felix. Did you feel that way at all?
I didn't know if this week would be the week just because of the way the Ravens can run the ball when they need to and just their fearlessness
Yeah.
to run the ball in non-traditional running situations. Yeah, we're not going to knock the guy's effort. I mean, great fumble recovery, great play on the screen, like you said. He's definitely shown some development in that area. I think if there's going to be a week where we see him more, it would be this week coming up where he's going to go against some tackles. He could maybe bend the edge around just a little bit with the Cincinnati offensive line, like Trent Brown, Orlando Brown. He's still got a long way to go, though, just being like an every down dude, which I think
Yeah,
we
exactly.
knew.
Yeah, right. And again, Leo Chenal can play that edge role at times on rundowns and pass downs. I mean, but you also see him like you kind of showed there too, where sometimes he lines up even on early downs, even on rundowns. They'll line him up 2-point stance inside, let him take on a guard, depending on what the matchup is. I mean, the Ravens obviously had inexperience at guard and right tackle this game. That won't be the case against Cincy as much, right? They have a little more experience of an offensive line. When you're looking at the matchup here against the Bengals coming up this weekend, from the Chiefs defensive side, is there anything that sticks out to you? I mean, I think I like the fact that we're not getting a Lamar Jackson type quarterback. The pass rush, like you kind of mentioned, can tee off a little more. But yeah, I mean, what do you like about this matchup coming up?
Well, I mean, the Bengals do start season slow. I think we've known that. Like, kind of proven that's been their mojo. Their offense just wasn't good. I mean, Burrow looked off sync with everyone. And that is a lot of because of what they do in practice. So if I am the Chiefs defense, if I'm Chris Jones, like this is a team that you're starting to beat up on now, and you go against them, it's going to be their first time seeing Burrow since the Burrowhead Championship game. So hopefully
Yeah.
there's going to be a little bit extra juice and fire there. Believe it will be another chance for Trent McDuffie to go against Jamar Chase. That's going to be some highlight viewing. Trent McDuffie is, by the way, is playing incredible football from the end of the playoffs last year up until this first game. Just incredible football.
Yeah, that was one thing we didn't touch on was the coverage was pretty good. The Chiefs obviously didn't feel great about their cornerback too. They weren't willing to name one. Spags was very ambiguous. He's like, I wouldn't say any of them are starter. Then Jalen Watson comes out and plays a really, really good game. Very solid in coverage. Has some important tackles. They have a big matchup. I mean, T. Higgins obviously dealing with the hamstring injury. We don't know if we'll see him. It feels like he's maybe trending to not play. But yeah, that's the thing with the Bengals offense, and I kind of see it, at this beginning of the season stuff. I just feel like they're so vanilla on offense. They don't do a lot of motion. They're always in shotgun. They kind of just play straight up and kind of just trust their talent to beat you. So when their talent is impacted, or a guy like Jamar Chase who didn't necessarily practice all the time this offseason, and then obviously losing Higgins, and they had some turnover at the other receiver positions. Tyler Boyd is no longer there. I really feel like the Chiefs defense has a big advantage in this game. We know what they have in Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle. I really feel like Karlaftis, maybe could have a better game this game. You feeling good about because you mentioned you didn't really feel good about the edge rushers' performance. You feel like because Bengals right tackle is obviously kind of a question mark too. Amarius Mims is hurt right now.
This is like a week where you go out there and Joe Cullen is really mad at them all week. Says you guys didn't play very good on the defensive end. Give Chris Jones some help because he's Chris Jones and he'll do it himself sometimes when he has to, but doesn't need to be all the time. Karlaftis had a big sack in the championship game. Last year that regular season game on New Year's Eve that didn't really matter because the Bengals were dead in the water. It was Jake Browning, but we'll see what happens this week. I'm thinking they might be able to get after him a little bit.
Yeah, again, Burrow is mobile in the pocket for sure, but he's just definitely more of you can get to the spot where he's going to drop back to and know he's going to be there. Lamar was not the case, plus fatigue. I really feel like that was a huge reason why you didn't see as much of Turk Wharton, Chris Jones at the end of the game. I mean, Turk Wharton started out the game huge. He had some big plays. So I'm excited to see the Chiefs defense match up with the Bengals offense this week. We will be breaking that down next week for y'all. We'll try to look at both sides of the ball again, kind of like we did this week. Hopefully, some good things to take away. Going to be a tough game, though. Definitely going to be a fiery game. Arrowhead, early season Arrowhead is awesome. And so I'm excited for that atmosphere for the Bengals to come into. Any final thoughts here, Caleb? Maybe looking ahead to the Bengals, or just on this Ravens game. I mean, shoot, it was a strong way to start the season on offense, and again, I think on defense they played admirably for a lot of the game, and then the offense kind of kept putting them in bad positions at points. So I think it was a really strong performance overall.
It's a great way to start the season. There's still a lot of things that can be cleaned up. The Chiefs are still getting major contributions out of rookies, so that's pretty much proves the offseason was another major success in one way or another. We didn't even show the Xavier Worthy touchdowns, but like, how special could this guy? How special could this guy end up being? Like,
we really should have, because the offensive linemen on that play were almost more impressive than anything Xavier Worthy did. I mean, Kingsley getting all the way to the top of the line there, kind of making that final block.
And the way the Bengals front seven and secondary tackled this week, or against the Patriots. If any of you watch that game, they got run over a couple of plays. So I think it'll be interesting to see if the Chiefs want to come out and kind of try to slug it out for a little bit, see if they can't get Pacheco going a little bit more this week.
And yeah, that's another good point about this game. The Chiefs Ravens game is Chiefs offense could not get the run game going pretty much whatsoever. I mean, it was a very 5 yards was the most Pacheco got on any carry, and so if that run game kind of gives you a little more, right, a little more efficient this next game against the Bengals, like you mentioned, the Patriots had their way at times. Ramondre Stevens had a big game for them. Yeah, I think this offense could be opened up even more than it already was. This last game, we kind of saw Xavier Worthy open up some stuff. If Pacheco can get going, fired up, it's going to be a fun season to be a Chiefs fan. This offense is only going to get better. This defense is veteran. It's experienced. It's going to be a pain in the butt for any offense to go against. The three-peat's on, fellas. So appreciate everyone joining tonight. Make sure you check in. We may do this Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights. We'll see. Just depends on how quickly we get to the film. Thursday night, it was nice to get the film over the weekend, but that is not always the case. And we're busy people. This isn't the full-time job, but we love breaking it down. We love bringing it to you all. So appreciate you all joining tonight. Make sure you do follow us on Twitter at Ron_Kopp, at CJ Scoobs. Make sure you're liking the YouTube page, subscribing. We'll be doing this, weekly. So come back. We'll hopefully be talking about the 2-0 Chiefs next week. We'll catch y'all then. We're out.